The Dark Knight, where strategy meets shadows. Today I'll show you the King Indian's defense. Passive at first, explosive later. Let's break it down. The King's Indian defense is a hyper-modern defense, meaning instead of fighting for the center immediately, Black lets White build a strong pawn center and then we destroy it. So, the thing about this defense as well is White can play any move and you can still use the defense effectively, unlike other defenses like the Scandinavian defense, where White has to play a specific move. We start, we bring our knight to f6, White continues to build their pawn structure. We move our pawn to g6, White continues to build their pawn structure. Then we Fianchetto kettle our bishop, and if you don't know what Fianchettoing means, it's basically what I've done here. You move your bishop along the diagonal, pointing right here at the enemy rook. Now we move it to g7, and now White's made the pyramid. Then we castle our king to safety and get our rook into development. Now, if you don't know what development means, developing a piece is where the piece can move to as many spaces as it possibly can. So, for instance, a knight in the center would be considered developed, rather than a knight like this one on b8, where it's basically almost in the corner. You can only move to 3 spaces, rather than this one can move to all 8, which is the maximum capability for a knight. Then we can move our pawn forward to threaten the bishop, then move it back. Then we move our knight to d7, and you soon see why. They move their knight. Now we can use the knight to push the pawns on c7 and e7 and gain central control. Now White can capture, we'll just capture back with our knight. If White decides not to capture, and let's say they move this knight to here, we can then push this pawn forward. Let's say White still continues not to capture and they move this knight to here, then we can capture this pawn. They'll probably capture this pawn, capture back, they capture back. Then we can deliver a check, and White has 2 choices. They can either give up the knight, give up the queen, or more than likely they'll move the king out of the way, which means we've gotten rid of their castling rights. And you probably know what castling is, where the king and the rooks move 2 spaces to the left or 2 squares to the right. Now that you know the Indian defense, I'm going to show you in a real game. And here we go. I'm playing as White. Hang on. Let me restart. See. Okay. White again. Why am I white again? Can't. White yet again. Maybe I need to check. Why am I still white? Oh, finally I'm black. That took ages. Right, so they move there. Now, since they moved their king pawn forward, we're going to move our pawn, the queen pawn, to d6. Because if we didn't, they would move this pawn forward and bully our knight around. Now we're going to continue on with the defense. Okay. Now we're going to castle. Move this knight to here to allow these 2 pawns to push forward. Okay, let's take this pawn. Threaten their knight. Okay. Should I capture the knight? Now I'll capture this pawn. So that way our bishop is pointing right at their rook. And they didn't notice, so we get to capture the rook. They'll recapture with the queen. Now where do we move? I'll Fianchetto the bishop here along the white diagonals. I'll just check, but I can just take back. Yeah, I'm going to Fianchetto my bishop. Okay. Should I take? I'll take. Okay. Now where do I move? Oh wait, hang on. Is it checkmate? Wait. Oh, I forgot the queen can do that. Can move this pawn forward. Okay. Oh, I ran out of time. But from the looks of it, It would have been a close game. Well, thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more sharp openings, aggressive tactics, and clean executions.